Conference. Debbie Abrahams, Shadow Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, will shortly address us, but before she speaks, we have a video.
Good morning, Mr Blake. I'm appointed to carry out assessments for employment and support allowance. Can you walk more than 50 metres?
Yes.
Can you raise either arm as if to put something in your top pocket?
Yes. Can I ask you a question? Are you medically qualified? I've had a major heart attack. I've been told by my doctor I'm not supposed to go back to work yet.
I'm afraid you must continue to look for work, or your benefit payments will be frozen.
There must be some mistake.
If you've been deemed fit for work, your only option is job seekers allowance.
Well, I want to appeal.
You have to apply online, sir.
I was a carpenter. I've never been anywhere near a computer.
So you need to run the mouse up the screen. No.
Not now.
No, not like that.
I'm just going round in circles.
I'm going to have to ask you to
explain to you a situation and you don't care. I've got about 12 quid in my purse.
Do you know what? You've created a scene, all right?
Jesus Christ!
What am I supposed to do?
Who's first in this queue?
I am.
Do you mind if this young lass signs on first?
No, you carry on. This isn't your concern. I want you to get out as well.
It's a monumental farce, isn't it? Looking for non-existent jobs. And all it does is humiliate me. You've done nothing to be ashamed of. You're alone with 2 kids. You've done amazing.
I've seen it before. Good people on the street. You could lose everything.
Well, I'm not going to give up. When you lose your self-respect, you're done for.
Conference, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did. We actually went to see the film on Saturday. It is so moving, and if I could just at this moment thank Ken Loach and the production team for allowing us to show that trailer. Conference, it's a real honour to stand here before you as the party's spokesperson for Work and Pensions. My first time on the conference platform. Conference, we live in troubling times. Our nation seems more adrift than ever. Our troubles often seem insurmountable. But when I'm faced with complexity and difficulties, I recall some wise words. The more complicated something is, the more important it is to define what your simple truths are. So what are my simple truths? First, I'm a socialist. I believe that society is stronger, can achieve more when we stand together, and that every citizen has an equal stake in our future. It is to me a simple truth that a nation aspiring to decency and fairness does not punish the disabled and disadvantaged. It is to me a simple truth that the way a government priorities finite finances reveals its authentic self. So when this government, this Tory government, imposes the bedroom tax on disabled people but gives tax breaks to millionaires, then their own simple truths are laid bare. It is to me a simple truth that where the dignity of rewarding work is deprived to millions through a lack of quality jobs, the rise of zero-hour contracts and indignities heaped on loyal workforces by the likes of Sports Direct and BHS, then social and economic progress is stunted. And it is also a simple truth that targeting the most vulnerable in our society damages the least vulnerable too. If you haven't already read the Richard Wilkinson and Kate Pickett book, please do. It's called The Spirit Level, and it's well worth a read. And it shows, with a wider gap between rich and poor, there is a higher level of infant mortality, poorer mental health, lower life expectancy, and less social mobility. To me, as a former academic, it's a simple truth that evidence-based policy must replace policy-based evidence. For Alex, if you're here, that's for you. That's why I'm a socialist, because all the evidence points to another simple truth. By building a society where the hope of progress is genuine and realistic and not forlorn, where every citizen feels themselves an equal participant in our nation, and where government is seen to be working for everyone, we create a virtuous circle of growth, stability and contentment. For all the Prime Minister's warm words, it's by her actions we will judge her. She's been a senior member of a government that has chosen to visit austerity on the most vulnerable in society. She has been a senior member of a government that continues to rain down on our education system ideological reforms with little or no evidentiary justification. And she has been a senior member of government where the number of food banks increased tenfold in 4 years. Conference, inequality is not inevitable. We are all here precisely because we know that change is possible and necessary. There are nearly 4 million children living in poverty, and children's charities are estimating that by 2020 that's going to increase to 5 million. Conference, children being in poverty affects not just their childhood but their whole future life chances. And the 5 million disabled people living in poverty now because of the extra costs they face associated with their disability, that's set to increase as a result of even more cuts in social security support. While I'm proud of the last Labour government's success at reducing pensioner poverty, women and the lowest paid remain at high risk of falling into poverty in their retirement. And this injustice is being extended to 2.6 million women born in the 1950s who've been shortchanged by this government, bringing forward their state pension age. The pension system that I want to see ensures dignity in retirement and a proper reflection of the contribution that older people have made and continue to make in our society. Conference. This government has fostered an insidious culture of fear and blame to justify their programme of cuts, deliberately attempting to vilify social security claimants as the new undeserving poor. I wanted to show that trailer from Ken Loach because I think it epitomises what's wrong with the current social security system. I believe there is a better way, a fairer way, one where Britain is the centre of a new industrial revolution, with industries and technologies as diverse as our people. To achieve this, we need to invest in our greatest asset, our citizens, nurturing a highly skilled workforce and rebuilding our country. For too long, the labour market has been dominated by poor quality, low-paid, insecure jobs, resulting in 2/3 of children living in poverty coming from working families. 4 in every 5 people working in low-paid jobs now will be stuck in low-paid jobs in 10 years' time. For those unable to work through illness or disability, we need to transform our social security system to one that is efficient, responsive and provides basic support. Time and time again, I hear how worthless the system makes people feel, even dehumanised. For the vast majority of people who have paid into it all their working lives, this is like a slap in the face. People often feel desperate, have been left destitute, and have even died. I want to change the culture of our social security system and how the public see it. I believe that, like the NHS, it's based on principles of inclusion, support and security for all, assuring us all of our dignity and the basics of life were we to fall on hard times or become incapacitated, giving us a hand up, not a handout. Work should always pay more than being on social security, but being in work shouldn't mean living in poverty, and neither should being on social security. The Labour Party has already pledged to get rid of the discriminatory and unfair bedroom tax, but I want to go further. I want to scrap the discredited work capability assessment and replace it with a system. I'll say that again. I want to scrap the discredited work capability assessment. And I want to replace it with a system based on personalised, holistic support, one that provides each individual a tailored plan, building on their strengths and addressing their barriers, whether skills, health, care, transport or housing related. The government's punitive sanction system must go too. So Job Centre Plus and employment support providers' performance will not just be assessed on how many people they get off their books. And I want to see disabled people better supported into and at work. We will halve the disability employment gap, and when we say it, we mean it. And we will tackle other labour market market inequalities too. I believe in a fair and just Britain, one where everyone can get on and no one is left behind. Labour's policies will deliver prosperity for all and tackle the inequalities and poverty in Britain today. I challenge the government to deliver theirs. Thank you, Conference.
Thank you, Debbie.